The streets are buzzing. Knicks 5 in a row. Big win coast to coast at MSG. 30-point victory. Let's get it. Friday night Knicks. We'll talk about it. Break it down. Shout you guys out as our New York Knicks, man, are playing gritty defense and absolutely dominated the Portland Trailblazers tonight, 127-97, holding an opponent below 100 points for the third straight game, right? And man, after getting right, our New York Knicks now, man, are starting to roll and have been rolling now as LA and LeBron James come into town next up. 30-18 now, the New York Knicks. 12 games back over 500 now. Despite no Deuce McBride tonight, man. Lots of heroes to shout out. As Tyler Kolek and Mohamed Diawara got some major minutes in this one. But our OGs, Brunson, Anunoby, Cat with his rebounding, Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges set the tone in this one early, man, and they dominated, right? Portland made a little bit of a run, got it within 10, and at halftime, it was still a ball game, but our New York Knicks came out in the third quarter, and the sharing and caring of the rock, man, the cutting, the player movement is back, right? Was it just a slump, right? Was it fatigue? Was it players, hearing their name in trade talks? Was it just a case of guys needing to take a break and get right, have that players only meeting and talk to each other and air it out? But it's maybe a combination of a lot, man. As everyone joining us in the building, shout out to Nick Streets. Smash that like button. You've got the Nick Streets buzzing. We're going to give out some game balls, roll the highlights, take a look at the box score, and we'll talk about the trade talk right around. As Buzzer Beater has a great question in the chat. Shout out to Buzzer, Shez V, Lily Phillips, New York City Grays. Appreciate everyone coming through. And Replay Squad, hit that like button. Blessings up. Hope you've had a great week and a start of a great weekend coming up. We've got LA to talk about, fam. We'll be seeing them next up. But on the back of, this roll, 5 in a row, Buzzer Beater asks, do you think this Giannis talk has forced the Knicks players to perform better, and play better, play harder? And I do think there is, I'm going to say there is an element of that, It's just that time of year where, we're past the halfway point. We hit the wall. A lot of teams do. It happens. And it was always about how you're going to bounce back, We were in that slump. But look, there were a lot of factors, man. The schedule was brutal. They come off a high, the NBA Cup slump. And, we got together. The leaders, Jalen Brunson, Cat's energy and effort looks a lot better as well. Buzzer, I think it's some of that, but not all of that. I can't take away credit from the players just in terms of execution now. Mike Brown made some tweaks as well, man. I tweeted this out as just a joke, but where the Tibbs cousins at, where the Tibbs OGs at, there were some people calling for Mike Brown's head. And I was saying, I don't think that was an issue. I don't think it was Mike Brown, right? He wasn't doing anything too crazy over what Tibbs was and wasn't doing. It was more so on the players. And the players really locked in now. But Mike Brown has made some tougher decisions as well, right? He's taken Clarkson out of the rotation. So our defense has gotten better. And it's not just because of Clarkson not playing. It's, a combination of some things, effort, energy levels, sharing and carrying the rock. And I do think it's basically Wingstop stepping up. Brunson's playing better, right? Cat's rebounding the ball at a high level. But we're getting contributions from obviously Deuce McBride, but not tonight. But stepping in, Tyler Kolek, Mohamed Diawara was big time as well. We'll take a look. A lot of heroes in the plus-minus heavy tonight. I'm going to give out another 2 game balls because OG Anunoby has really rediscovered his game. And Jalen Brunson, I felt tonight, led by example. He set the tone early. He was decisive. He was aggressive. He was hitting shots, kind of cooled off later, but I think Jalen Brunson kind of really helped set the tone in this one too, as well as OG, Demon Obi. Lily Phillips, shout out to you. Hope all's well. Great to see you. Dominant win. Defense looking better and better. Yeah, they're really locking in. And some of that, like Buzzer said, it's players hearing their names, maybe some healthy fear, a shake up, in terms of like players, understanding what's at stake. I think that's what's happened because you cruise through the first 35 games of the season, you have early success with the NBA Cup, and then you hit a wall, and you're like, sometimes you just forget, or you need a reminder in terms of what's at stake. And I think this team has really got right now. And look, the schedule's kind of eased up a bit, but the big wins in Toronto and the big win over Philadelphia, right? If we lose a couple of those, then that stench can still linger, but we've cleared it now, and we're absolutely feeling ourselves, right? The ball's moving better, and we're back to playing with more energy. I think at a higher pace as well, but we'll talk about in the spotlight tonight as well, right? With Kolek once again stepping up. This one was more offensively, right? Kolek had 10 dimes in the last one. Tonight he was really aggressive, draining the three ball, right? It's like Deuce McBride passed Tyler Kolek his powers for the night, and he stepped in and was dropping threes like he was in the 3-point contest with a quick trigger, and Clarkson out of that rotation, right? But Mitch continues to be great. Mitch continues to be dominant on the glass, giving us second chance points after second chance points. And look, we know the talk going on around Karl Anthony Towns, but look, his effort tonight was noteworthy, right, in a major way, right? We have a milestone, ladies and gentlemen. You know what that means. We're going to ring the horn. Shout out to our captain, man. Future Hall of Famer Jalen Brunson now has reached the 10K career points for Jalen Brunson, man. Already a Knick legend in the making, and Jalen Brunson now is on his way to the Hall, right? 10,000 career points, many, many, many more to go, and buckets to come from JB. Chris Gotti in the building, salute. New York City Grey says, Mo D. Kolek, showing why I'm not trading any of the youth just for a marginally better player. Yeah, got to future-proof this squad as well, because we are going to get old at some point, and I don't want that fall off to be heavy. Also, we need depth, so we can, play those guys for the now because they can help in spots, but I do think for the future it's critical that we continue to keep these guys around, right? Look at a major part of our team. You got Deuce McBride and Mitchie, from the second round, and we have Kolek and Diawara now, and some other second round picks. Not forgetting about Huck and McCullough and like, but right now Diawara and Kolek look highly, highly productive and very playable. We'll talk about the playoffs and moving forward. Is Mike Brown going to trust the Diawara? Hopefully. I think defensively, it's a better matchup against the size of Portland. You got Danny Advidar, Drew Holiday, Shadon Sharp. You got the size of their wings and athleticism. I think this was an excellent matchup for Mo Diawara, right? And Chris Gotti says Diawara was a plus 27 as I ring it up, right, in 17 minutes as well. You guys can see the box score, right? What stands out to y'all in this one? A lot of juicy, things to pick apart. Cat, 6-0 boards, 20 rebounds really stands out to me. The Diawara plus 27. The Kolek, 3 of 5 from downtown. Diawara, 2 of 5 from downtown. 4 of 8, 50% from Diawara as well. Knocked down that mid-range. What else stands out to me? The 3 ball from OG Anunoby is back. 4 of 8, 50% from downtown. And this could be a season high, 34 plus. Right. that could be the best of them all, man. 34 plus minus in just 30 minutes from OG, right? That's why they call him the demon, man. That's why he's got the second consecutive game ball, right? I don't think OG is going to get defensive player of the game tonight, actually. We'll bring you up to speed with that one. But he only got one block. I say only one block, no steals. Maybe Hart. Hart or Bridges might get defensive player tonight, actually. Hart got 2 steals, 1 block. Mikal got the 3 steals as well. He was great in the passing lane. 14 points, right? Not as efficient was Mikal, but the 3 steals was big time. And obviously the 26 points from Brunson, right? Efficient from downtown, 42% as well from the captain. You know what that means, man? That's danger for the other team when Brunson is knocking down those threes as well. 5 of 12, man. I like Brunson shooting high volume threes. I don't know how y'all feel. I've talked about it for a long time. I think the 3 ball has opened up Brunson's game, kind of when he became an all-star, all-NBA player. 5 of 12. I mean, never would have predicted Brunson early in his career putting up 12 threes. But look how energy, man. OG Anunoby beating dudes down the floor now. You can't tell me we were playing with this kind of energy 2 weeks ago. And yeah, it's a number of things, the schedule lightening up. But yeah, these guys are really starting to lock in too. Elliot Salute says the Knicks are definitely playing better and executing. It's like day and night compared to where they were at the beginning of the month. Yeah, you know, the eye test just tells you everything you need to know. They're just playing with more verve, you know. Clyde even sees it as well. Jose G Salute insight. Knicks had 7 players double digits. Knicks are 12-1 when Hart gets 15 points. That's a great stat. Appreciate you. Cat with 20 boards tonight. OG was splashing as well. Yeah, you know, the pace is back, and then that means OG is getting, you know, cleaner looks. You know, he's getting looks that, you know, help him out, you know, with the 3-point ball as well, and it opens up the drive, right? How we are feeling at halftime. You know, the Knicks gave up a 22 or 24-point lead, I think, and the Blazers brought it to within 10. And you kind of thought, okay, this could be a dogfight in the second half, but the Knicks killed it in the third quarter, man. Really had a great run in the second half. We'll take a look at the stats in a minute, but continue to roll these highlights, right? A lot of talking points, as I say. No Deuce McBride for the second consecutive game, but Kolek is back in that rotation now. All right. I want to, you know, make a point about Kolek. I feel like even during his slump, I was still advocating for Kolek to stick around and continue to play, right? Sophomores, rookies, they do hit slumps. It's going to happen. You know, I've never met a sophomore or rookie that doesn't hit some kind of slump. You could be the number 1 overall pick. You ain't going to play great every single night, but you got to believe in your talent. Kolek, you know, he went from not playing much to playing every single night, basically for 3 straight weeks. That probably caught up to him, you know, caught up to his body, caught up to him physically, and he just probably needed a week or 2 to have a seat and, you know, get it together. And, you know, he was out of the rotation. Now he's back and he got it together now. 2 huge performances in a row from TKO, right? We're going to take a look at this as well from Orlando, right? Look at this. Desmond Bane. This is making waves around the socials. Desmond Bane threw Emmanuel Quickly to the floor in another dirty act, right? You see no Orlando Magic player even come to the defense of Desmond Bane, right? They're the 8th seed now, Orlando. We'll take a look to see if they won tonight, but you can't do that, man, to our guy, our former guy IQ, right? You just can't do that, period, man. Right, we're coming, and wouldn't mind meeting Orlando, fam, and showing Desmond Bane how to play, how to win as well. It was a really, really dirty act too. And then he acts like he ain't do nothing. It's crazy. But back to Knicks programming. Let us know how you feel, right? This is what I mean about Kolek. We turned stops into transition points. When Kolek's pulling up from downtown, you see how confident he is right now. He's always looking for his teammate as well. He's got his head up and he was looking for guys running the floor, but he said, hey, no one's going to check me. I'm just going to pull up. Y'all going to sag off. I'm going to rise up. And Tyler Kolek, man, 3 or 4 from downtown, or 3 or 5 from downtown now. Could that be another key, like Brunson rising up the ranks? Could that be the key to Kolek's game, right? Taking that next level, right? He could pass with the best of them, but if Tyler Kolek becomes an excellent 3-point shooter, he's going to be in this league for 10 years plus, right? Even just the passing, I think, could keep Tyler Kolek in this league for a long, long time, man. What a performance, man. Again, backing up Deuce McBride as well. We have depth, ladies and gentlemen. We have a coach that plays them now, right? Once again, where's the Tibbs Cousins at as well? Because we're in a good spot now. We had to correct the ship, but we're 30-18 in the second seed. All of this with the coaching change, and we're playing some young guys as well, right? These guys are going to be ready for when the playoffs come too. Bob, salute. Great to see you in the building. Hope all is well. Yeah, Cat 2 fouls last 3 games total. Great point. Right, appreciate you. Cat's really starting to lock in. And yeah, we are going to talk about, what's coming up. Obviously, the Giannis trade on record, as I've said, is less likely in the deadline for the Knicks. Now, he might go somewhere else, but we'll see. The Knicks are going to try. They're going to make an aggressive offer, but for right now, these guys aren't letting the talk distract them, and they're back on track. I do think there's some additions we can make on the margins. But look, like Buzzer said, it's a great question, man. These guys are playing hard because they don't want to lose their spot. Right? No one wants to get traded, man. You got to pack. You got to uproot your business, your family. It's a healthy level of fear, but that's just the business part of the sport. Susan, great to see you. Say what you want about the GOAT. LBJ has played over 60,000 minutes so far in his career. That is insane. Yeah, longevity. He'll go among the the longevity GOATs. Obviously Tom Brady. Actually, last night we had Novak Djokovic, 38, make the Australian Open final in the Grand Slam. I caught that match as well last night. LeBron is 41. Yeah, I hope JB. I hope some of these Knicks can play till they're 40, man. Yeah, if y'all had to predict a couple of Knicks on this squad that have the best chance to be playing until they're 40, let me know, man. Could you see Mikal Bridges be playing till he's 40 in the league? Could you see OG Anunoby? Do you think Mitchell Robinson could still be helpful at 40, man? He's going to probably put on some extra weight, but the way he rebounds, if he can stay healthy, Deuce McBride is built strong as well. He might have a very long career too. We'll preview the trade talk a bit later, but a guy who covers the Phoenix Suns, right, John Gambadoro, says he's not going to rule out a Yabusele for a Nick Richards swap, right? So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Eves Missy, Jose Alvarado, but the Knicks have also had conversations with Phoenix around Nick Richards too. And John Gambadoro says, I believe this is something that has been talked about, right? Not going to rule that one out too. So, right, Huck Porty, do they trust him as the third string? Cat could get into foul trouble. Mitch as well. Don't know how many minutes he can play come playoff time. And so I think it's wise to look still for another big man. We'll talk about that. But another point of attack defender. But the way Diawara is playing, we'll continue to roll those Diawara highlights too. Al Tango, great to see you. Nick showing defensive chops for the last 5. Yeah, they've really stepped up the energy too. Definitely the physicality. Also, Cat starting to show steady improvement on D and late game silly fouls. Yeah, we're seeing a correction. 100% correct. And look, players only meeting, guys probably just called each other out in a way where it's like, hey, what's on your mind? What's on your chest? And we talk about it. And I'm sure the guys probably told Cat, look, man, you got to cut back on these hook fouls, and so far so good. We're seeing that. The rebounding, the effort is a lot higher too. Uh, in response to longevity, Mark Salute says, I can see Cat and Bridges playing into their 40s. Bridges I can see, obviously is the Iron Man. Yeah, and Cat, I actually gave Cat props last night in terms of his durability. You look at Embiid, you look at Giannis, more injured now. Cat plays hurt. He doesn't like to miss games, so that is a good quality. That is a good quality to have. Look, his effort isn't always great, but he doesn't duck the moment. In terms of playing. Glenn Jones, salute, brother. If we can get another 8-game win streak and right the ship, we'll be okay. Still think we need another piece. Yeah, I would agree. I think we've right the ship already. And I think some tweaks, Clarkson out of the rotation. Initially Kolec's been out of the rotation, but now he's stepped up. So in a way, you could say Mike Brown shrinking that rotation down to 9. Yabu, out of the rotation now as well. Just cleaned it up. Mike Brown came in there and he cleaned things up as well. I think we are running good sets as well. I like the ball swinging. How many times did it swing from one corner to the other, just side to side, getting the defense moving as well. And I do think their vision's improved. All right. Now it's hurting us with some turnovers. Definitely got to correct. Our turnovers have definitely gone up, but that is because we are trying. We are trying to move the basketball quickly, and we are keeping our head up. We are looking for Mitch a lot more now. We're looking for the skip pass, the touchdown pass down court. We're looking for the side to side as well, a lot more as well. I could see Mitch feeling more involved as well because he's looking for the lob too. Al Tango 45 says, yeah, CT, do you remember when Cat and OG were considered injury prone every season? Yeah, I do, and I think we've made a lot of investment in the coaching, in the health science, Casey Smith, the best in the league, coming over from Dallas. That's helped us a lot, considering we are playing faster as well. But also you got to give credit to Mike Brown and the switch up, because look, there was a lot of reasons I wanted the change from Tibbs. There's just too many reasons to go through. But one of them was extending that rotation. And obviously, even if it's not for the entire season, I think in the long run, it's going to be beneficial to play some 11, 10-man rotation nights, back-to-backs. The plan with Mitch is proving to be working out, Mitch sitting on some back-to-backs. He's healthy. The plan is working out, right? Playing 9, 10 men. Some of these nights against Washington, Charlotte, Chicago, Tibbs would run, 7 or 8, especially when the pressure was up, right? When the losing streaks were happening and pressure was up, we know what Tibbs would have been doing, which would have been playing the 7, 8 man, and he would have been playing Josh Hart, 39, 42 minutes as well, out of some desperation. So we are seeing adjustments, Now both coaches are different in their ways, I've already appreciate Tibbs for what he brought to the table. Brown's a different guy as well. He ain't perfect, but I see the vision with the change up. What's up, AJ? Salute to King James, but I want to see his last game at MSG to be a dud and a fat L. Let's go, Knicks. Yeah, you and me both, AJ. He's sitting out. He's ready. He's prepared. We're going to hand him that big fat L, man. Let's get Mario Hezonja as a special guest. Y'all remember Super Mario Hezonja got that big block, right? That was a viral moment one of these Knicks have had against LeBron James. There ain't many. The one where, LeBron was going for the win, tried to back Mario down. Look, when locked in, Mario could defend. He was 6'8", athletic. And he got the game-winning block. That was when we were bad. We celebrated that block like it was a win. You know, I mean, it was a win, but we celebrated it like it was a clutch win. You saw, you know, DeAndre Jordan back then was a Knick as well, and everyone, you know, flocked to Mario, Super Mario, right? So yeah, you know, one of our targets, James Najee Marshall, right? It's looking like Dallas want a first round pick. So per Ian Begley, the Knicks are showing interest. Right? The Knicks have 7 first round picks at their disposal. That number goes to 9 if you include the 2026 first round pick from the Wiz. However, Dallas will be able to garner a better offer than New York's for Marshall, right? For Marshall. So, look, they're trying. I would love to get Najee Marshall. I think that could be a game changing level pickup, right? But a couple of seconds, maybe a young player could get it done. I would hate to move on from Kolek, man. I really would. But if Dallas asks for Kolek, that could be the first round type pick or Kolek and a second. But I don't see us getting Marshall for just Yabu Dardier in seconds. That's not going to be good enough, in my opinion. But another game-changing name has hit the market, ladies and gentlemen. The Hoop Collective pod, Brian Windhorst, let slip. He says, an interesting name, Isaiah Hartenstein, right? He's got a team option next year for 29 mil. I've actually heard OKC, I've actually heard the OKC Thunder put his name in some trade chatter, potentially looking at centers as well. So, man, you can't make this up. Like, obviously, it's a no-brainer. Knicks fans would love to get Isaiah Hartenstein back, man. If there is some kind of 3-4-way trade, blockbuster deal where we are bringing in Giannis and another big man, you know, if Cat is end up going out or a wing, right? You know, that's a name. Obviously, I think the Knicks would have interest in trying to get Isaiah Hartenstein back. Look, but he is expensive at 29 mil. Chris Gotti says, is Clarkson going to get traded? I think the Knicks will try. If Clarkson would like a new home, if Clarkson says, look, I'm happy to ride this season out, y'all can use me as situational, I could see Clarkson sticking around, but I could also see us trying to use that you know, roster spot, fam. If Mike Brown doesn't feel like he's in the top 9, top 10 rotation, they might look at something, man. I think that conversation's ongoing. From what I hear, I think that conversation's kind of ongoing right now. It's mutual where, you know, Clarkson isn't really, you know, agitating for anything, but the Knicks also haven't made a full decision yet. And yeah, Clarkson didn't play tonight. Well, garbage time, I kind of thought about it. You know, I think Mike Brown probably asked the veteran out of respect, you know, do you want to go out there for the last 4 minutes? And look, a lot of veterans have pride. I don't think they want to, you know, go out there late and give a younger guy an opportunity, right? But let's look at this efficiency graph, right? The last 10 games, our Knicks are up to top 6 in net rating, top 18 in offense, right? Top 3 in defense. Turn it up, ladies and gentlemen. That is absolutely big time, right? We have corrected the ship. Last 10 games, man, you are as good as your last 10 games. That's a good sample, you know, after slumping, right? Obviously, our offense still got ways to go to get back up to what it was, but we corrected our, you know, we patched up our biggest wound, which was, you know, defense. We're now +3 in defense now, 3 consecutive games holding opponents to below 100 points, and we are +6 in net, right, in the league, right, which is phenomenal. You see us right up there with the Pistons. You see us right up there with OKC, Mini, the Spurs, Clippers, the Phoenix Suns as well. So this is big time, this graph. Let me actually retweet Yeah, let me retweet that one, fam. Yeah, continue to shout you guys out, man, and roll these clips and the highlights. Yabusele, I don't think anything's changed. I think Yabusele is going to get traded. Looks like the Spurs don't want to take his second-year player option. You know, we talked about that last night. So if y'all don't know, Jeremy Sohan was an option. The Knicks were really looking at, Sohan. Sohan's camp was interested as well. The Spurs have told Sohan that he can look for another team, but doesn't look like it can happen with the New York Knicks because they don't want to take on his additional salary too, fam. So we're looking at Yves Missy. We're still interested in Jose Alvarado. We have strong interest in Najee Marshall. There's conversations with Nick Richards as well. I'm expecting something like that, a kind of a fringe minor move for a guy that might be the ninth, 8th, 9th, 10th guy that just bolsters our stocks defensively and in a rotation too, fam. So got the complete dub highlights from the full squad. I'll bring that up. Mike Brown says that Mikal Bridges is tonight's defensive player of the game, right? So as we predicted, fam, Mikal Bridges got DOP tonight, right? We see Huck Porty. Good to see him get some late minutes, garbage time. Huck Porty's been good recently, but he's, waiting for an opportunity. He's situational too. We have some positive feedback coming from Mike Brown on Cat. He says that's what great players do. They impact the game in a lot of different ways. Mike Brown talking about Cat's second straight 20 rebound performance, right? So that's what great players do. So look, if Giannis deal doesn't happen in season, man, the best version of Cat is what we're looking for. That's going to help us, right? I know he's hearing his name in trade talk, and I know it can't be nice, it's tough, but it looks like he's trying to block that out, and he's definitely more locked in right now, and it's up to the squad to keep him engaged, right? Continue with that effort and rebounding and energy too. Also, Mike Brown says defensively, our guys are doing a nice job trying to do what our rules are, which is they're trying to stay connected and trying to play off of one another. So playing more connected and playing off of one another. So I did talk about the turnovers. We still have to clean that up. 13 tonight, though, wasn't too bad. We've been getting games up to the 16, 17 turnovers. 13's not great, but it ain't as bad as we've had previously, fam. Colette kind of cleaned that up. 2 turnovers to 4 assists. So that's a good ratio. Josh Hart, he had 2 turnovers, OG with 3, but everyone else was kind of 0 or the 1. So we did clean that up as well. But look, yeah, Cat, he's been in the spotlight. Man, shout out once again, 20 rebounds. His effort and energy was big time against Kling Kong, Donovan Clingan as well. He is a load out down there, man. He is a lump. That guy, man, he is tough. But we have a great tandem in terms of rebounders, Mitch and Cat. And I think that's looking at his value. Cat, that's biggest value right now is Cat with the rebounding, right? The 3-point ball isn't really game changing. I know he spaces the floor out. I know he talks about, the greatest shooting big man of all time. We really haven't gotten the best shooting version of Cat as a Knick. But I do think with the energy level, the tip backs, the rebounding, the passing, there's more to Cat's game, than just the 3-point ball. We know he could have been a lot better than what we've seen with Karl Anthony Towns, but in terms of, with Mitch playing at such a higher level, that's probably pushing Cat even more, man. That's probably fueling him because he's going to lose more minutes. Mike Brown is not afraid to bench Cat. I don't think that's something Tibbs wouldn't have done as well. Mike Brown ain't really scared of no player. I know they say I know, Matt Barnes and some people talk about Mike Brown as a yes guy. Well, yeah, he's benched Cat down the stretch. He's benched Mikal Bridges before as well. He's played Tyler Kolek over Clarkson, a veteran. He's made some tough calls. People aren't talking about this enough, right? If Brunson's stinking it up, he'll run an extended run with Deuce McBride or Kolek. He's done it. He's done it in the past as well. So, he's got full autonomy first season in, but the rule was he must collaborate, right? And he's playing the second round picks, the second round pick rooks. Diawara plus 27, man. Is this Diawara's best game in the league? I think this might be. Best all-round game. 2 of 5 downtown, 4 of 8, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, just 2 turnovers, 2 fouls, 10 points, plus 27, man. Shout out to Diawara. I think this is his best performance of his young NBA career. And Tyler Kolek continues to look like he belongs out there. I just think you look at Kolek, he just looks like an NBA player. Looks like a third, fourth year NBA player. He's playing at a fast speed. Dribble looks great. Dribble looks tight. He's getting to his spots. He's always looking to make the bold pass, which is, still dicey with turnovers, but for the most part, man, when he executes, it looks beautiful. 4 assists, 2 rebounds as well. I think Tyler Kolek's a solid rebounder, for a small guard as well. Let's give Kolek his props as a rebounding guard as well. Him and Deuce McBride, they rebound quite well for a point guard. And Kolek look aggressive from downtown, 3 of 5 as well. Newest Nick, Dylan Jones, even got in the action, ladies and gentlemen. So shout out to Dylan Jones, man. He's on the 2-way right now. Back to the comments and chat. You guys are buzzing. Appreciate y'all. The best in the biz. Salute Johnny Chiba. This version of Cat is what I've been waiting for. All of us too, fam. And look, Cat, man, that's what makes him so maddening, man. He won us playoff games last season, man. We probably lose the Detroit series if Cat didn't have, the big game one and then the other heroic second half in Motown. And then remember the performance in Indiana. We probably go home in 5. We probably go home in 5 if Cat doesn't win us game 3 in Indiana. So that's what we want. That's what we've been waiting for. And I think it's in there with Cat. I think it's just all mental, man. Now, some people called Cat soft. Mentally is probably his weakest area, not physically. I think mentally is where Cat can get a lot, stronger in terms of just blocking out the noise and just playing with effort and energy. AJ says, I could see Clarkson and Landry be our dark horse to help us get to the finals. Keep the team chemistry. After that team meeting, it's starting to show dividends. Absolutely. Yeah, guys won the NBA Cup together, man. I could see these guys riding with each other, man, till the wheels fall off. But for whatever happened, I think it was a lot of fatigue, schedule got tough, and these guys have really picked it up. But I think it's critical to continue to play 9, 10 men, because when OG gets gassed, when Mikal gets banged up, Brunson looks tired, you go into that funk that we saw, fam. And I think if you could give that youthful energy out there like Diawara, Kolek, and just keep extending that rotation, it does feed off and give those other guys energy. You know what I mean? Nelson's in the building. We have to go at least 10 of 1 to qualify for the 40-20 rule for a chance for that chip. I haven't heard that stat in a minute, man, but yeah, appreciate you bringing that up because, we did lose ground. We lost ground going, was it 2 4-game losing streaks? we were really headed for like a 60-win season at one point. But I think, definitely much needed pickup. 5 in a row now. And look, Boston won tonight. I think we're going to pull up the standings in a minute. And I do think Toronto won as well. Oh no, Toronto lost actually, so we'll bring that up. Big win for the Magic. That's excellent. Excellent for us with the Magic pulling off a big win. So that's 2 losses in a row now for Toronto as well. So they're being tested right now. Is K-Mac hurt? Asks Altango. I haven't heard anything, fam. I hope not. I haven't heard anything, but I do know he's been going down to Westchester. He's been coming back and forth. Same with Pacome. We'll see what's happening. But yeah, Dylan Jones got in, and the Knicks will have a decision to make with the 15th guy. Will they keep Kevin McCullough on the 2A, and will they try to sign a veteran for the 15th guy? We'll see who gets bought out. If Clarkson gets bought out or traded, that's another roster spot. So I do think if we trade Dardier and we trade Yabu, it's probably going to be a 2-for-1, right? Unless it's going to be Eves Missy and Alvarado, which would be great. I don't know if we can get both, right? I could see us getting one of them, definitely. I don't know if we could get Eves Missy and Alvarado for Yabu and for Dardier, maybe a 2nd-round pick. But yeah, if we've got the 15th roster spot, and if Clarkson goes, that's another spot, we're looking at as well. Gerson Rodriguez says Cat is the league rebounding. I think he's the leading rebounding in the league. Yep. He's also in the league double-double lead as well. I haven't checked that myself, but yeah, appreciate you bringing that up. Again, Cat's just such a skilled, talented player. I think it's been mental for the most part. And he's talked about it a lot, and I said this last night. I think Minnesota trading Cat has had just as much impact on him psychologically than the Knicks trade rumors. It's always the first team when you get traded from your team that drafts you. I think that hurts a lot, but it's been over a season now, and I just hope these guys understand what they can achieve here. And understand that. Forget about Minnesota and whatever happened. He's a Knick now. Play your best, win here, and you'll be a legend forever. I mean, look at what James Dolan's doing for guys who, we rolled the alumni the other night, the video. Man, you got Tim Thomas, being taken care of. You got, I know Charles Oakley, that thing's still going on, but, you got J.R. Smith in the building. You got, former Knicks alumni that didn't win anything. Imagine with the crew that wins something, right? They might get a statue, man. You never know, right? If the Knicks can break the 53-year drought, or was it 57-year drought, these guys might, all get their name in the rafters. They might get a statue or something, but they'll definitely be legends. They won't have to pay for another meal. They won't have to pay for another, ride or a drink, right? As we see, for those that missed it, man, viral video tonight, Desmond Bain roughing up Emmanuel Quickly in this dirty act as well, throwing him to the ground. This was ruled a flagrant 1, man. Think about that for a second, man. I know the league's trying to counteract that soft tag, but there's intent, right? Remember when Josh Hart got tossed by Scott Foster for accidentally kicking someone in the nuts? Right? And Josh Hart got tossed straight away, flagrant 2, accidentally kicked the dude, flailed his leg into the guy's nuts. But this is a real intent, man. He's trying to shove him into the hardwood. Like, if that ain't a flagrant 2 in terms of intent, I don't know what is. Like, what do you got to do? Go up and punch someone? What do you got to do? Go up and straight square up on someone? I mean, that's intent, right? That should be a flagrant 2, I think, in terms of the intent. Johnny Chiba with the cat talk on really forcing the drives into traffic and hardly ended up on the floor. That is a major improvement. Major, man. Maybe the film session also helped a lot as well. But I think teammate accountability is the key, right? Right. Who is the main, you know, people that hold, that have the most impact in terms of holding you accountable? It's your peers, man. Your friends, your family, all of that. They say an intervention, you get your friends, family coming at you with some advice, you better listen because they're the people that know you the best. And so I think hopefully teammate, got in his grill, accountability, players only meeting, I think definitely helped out with that one. Also, yeah, I wanted to highlight this lineup put out by Chris Persianen. I really like this lineup. It was Kolek with Towns and 3 wings. Right, so it was jumbo wing stop, all you can eat, with OG, Mikau, and Diawara together. And that's length, that's size, passing lanes, and defense, right? With Kolek, playmaker, and Cat. So that's a great lineup for defense, offense. All of them can dribble, all of them can pass, and I think Kolek plays better with Cat as well. Cat plays better with Kolek in terms of. So, is this a new look? Remember Mike Brown did talk about a couple of weeks ago. He says, "I got an idea. I got a method that I think can get this thing corrected. That he hasn't tried yet." And if Cat plays more with Kolek and 3 of the jumbo wings, that could be something we see more of, fam, as well, right? Shout out to Kolek too for really stepping it up and giving us that spark too. Look, I'm not anti-Clarkson either. I wouldn't mind Clarkson sticking around just from a backup perspective. He's got a clear skill set that we still need. You still need to situations where you might be down 8, you might be down 5 with 2 minutes to go. You need buckets. Clarkson can score contested shots and can really create offense, which is going to be good in the playoffs. I think from that standpoint, you've just got to be careful with his minutes. You've got to be careful in terms of okay, you got to gauge how the game is going. Is it a real physical, rough and tough game against Detroit, where defensively he's just not going to be able to stand up, or is it an end-to-end, back and forth, offensive, party, where I do think that kind of game suits Jordan Clarkson a lot, where he can get hot in 5 minutes. He can drop 2 threes and and get the crowd in a frenzy. You know what I mean? So you need all your weapons, I think, when it gets to the playoffs. So, well, I said last night, man, I think this is a critical trade deadline still. Great to see the team really starting to click now, but there's going to be more challenges to come, right? Detroit coming up next week. We're ready. I'm going to be ready for that, right? We're going to pull up the schedule in a minute, take a look at the standings. AJ says, yeah, Bane versus Dylan winner gets Draymond. Yeah, the biggest Nick villain, or anyone's villain, man. Jalen Suggs as well is a guy out there. And I do think he ain't dirty by any means, but guys like Ron Holland and Norm Powell, they play with an edge. You can just see it on their face. He's always pouting, mean mugging. He's Norm Powell. It's probably all that Pat Riley, Miami Heat, body weight issues and all of that, stringent body fat volume checks and all of that. Yeah, Glenn says Cat is usually the biggest person on the floor, right? And he needs to be averaging 15 rebounds a game and not flopping, taking the shots in the paint. He'll be unstoppable. Yeah, he's starting to be more patient in terms of the whistle as well. He's not arguing. I think tonight was a step in the right direction. I think Cat pump faked a couple of times. He got hit, but he absorbed the contact. He went up and he finished it. He finished it strong as well, right? Yeah, some of these guys are bordering on football, UFC. I do think maybe when their playing career's done, I'd love to see Desmond Bain enter the boxing, man. He's got the arms, he's got the physicality. He should be a fighter. Ron Holland. Uh, Maybe they'll do some of that Misfits boxing, man. Jordan Clarkson versus. Let's have a Knicks Pistons boxing match between Ron Holland and Jordan Clarkson. Those guys like to square up. But yeah, on a serious note, I think some of these guys can't control their emotions, man. It's a physical game. I get it. You got players trash talking and getting into your head, but you got to keep your cool, right? You got to let your play do the talking, fam. Desmond Bain just always wants to fight, right? You could tell OG got under his skin. Like you don't do what you do to OG unless someone's got under your skin, right? The ball, OG's out of bounds. You're in bounds, right? You're not falling out of bounds. You're in bounds. You've got the ball. You don't throw that ball and heave that ball at OG Anunoby aggressively like dodgeball unless you're ticked off. So he can't control himself in that situation too. And then he tried to make excuses and all of that, man. I can't wait for the playoffs too. We're going to see a lot of that when it comes to Detroit. That's why hopefully we can get another dog or two on this squad, fam. Because Dante DiVincenzo, if he was on this squad, he'd be getting into it like we saw with Ron Holland III on Detroit. I think Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Stewart, I can already see it. Isaiah Stewart's going to trying to rough up Mitchell Robinson and try to be the villain. He's going to try to be a bad guy. Is beef stew, right? They're going to try to get under Cat's skin. Is beef stew, right? Some of these guys, Tobias Harris, too, man. I think it's going to be the Eastern Conference Finals, like I said last night. Yeah, Chris says, shout out to Cat, back-to-back 20 rebounds. AJ says, roid rage. Possibly. Definitely they can't control their emotions in that one, and the physicality. But look, the East is a log jam, man. On that note, let's bring this thing up, right, with tonight's action, right? We had the Magic pull out that big win. Salute to the Magic. They did us a favor. Lakers got the big win. Pelicans beat the Grizzlies. Celtics got the big win, unfortunately, over the Kings. Cleveland's getting mud stomped by the Phoenix Suns. Brooklyn and the Jazz, man. Battle of the worst. And then today, man, late West Coast. Actually, let me refresh because that game should be in action already. Okay, yeah. Yes, the Pistons. The Pistons are ahead of the Golden State Warriors. No Jimmy Butler. A lot of those guys are probably dealing with the trade rumors. You got Kuminga. Looks like they're trying to offer him for Giannis too. Look, Brian Windhorst did confirm that there has teams already made their packages to Milwaukee for Giannis. So teams have already made offers. So everything's on the table right now. And Kuminga, Jimmy Butler's salary, and draft picks, I think, is the Warriors. And maybe Podziemski. All of that is on the table, right? Miami, probably they're going to be dealing with the trade rumors as well with those guys, man. There's going to be a lot of upheaval when that comes to that. Now, with that said, we pull up the standings. The Pistons will get one more win, I think, if they continue to win tonight. But the Knicks still hold firm in the second spot. You got the Celtics, same record, basically 30-18. And the Cavaliers, though, about to take another L. So that's great. There's going to be a 2-game separation, right, from the Knicks and the Cavs. Yeah, Cavs down 79-97 to end the third. So basically, they're down 18 heading into the fourth. And so they will go to 21 losses, right? So they'll be 3 games back in the loss column, fam. So that is huge, right? We will see the Cavaliers again later this season, but the Raptors getting the clutch loss from the Magic as well helped us a lot. Beating the Raptors last time, and also the Raptors losing today, us winning. It is now, they are 3 games back in the loss column of the Raptors with 1 less win as well. So we can breathe a sigh of relief, man. We are got separation now in the top 2, top 3 spots. But let's keep it rolling. Let's keep our foot on the gas because LA's coming to town, right? We'll talk about that moving forward now, right? And this schedule coming up. Mike Cahill's in the house, says Carl Anthony Bounds. Nice. That's a good one. He's got a big wingspan. This cat, he just pulls those rebounds down, even with one hand. Sometimes, too. So I'll pull up more of the other stats as well. We got the highlights, and continue to shout you guys out. Mikal Bridges gets the defensive player of the game in this one. So LA coming up, right? 1st of February on Sunday. And then we got Washington back to back, Denver on the second night, and then Detroit, Boston, right? And then Indiana, Philly. A nice soft landing, I think, heading into All-Star break. The Indiana and the Philly, I think. Now Philly's on the road again, man. We already just beat Philly in Philadelphia. We're going to have to do it again. And then we will play Philly at home, I think, later in the season. Yeah, heading into All-Star break, Philly will try to make a statement on that one. But I think, look, LA, they're not playing great right now. I'm expecting a win the way we're playing. Washington, Denver's at home. Cat usually plays well against a Joker. I think the Joker will make his return soon. I saw a report today, but yeah, Nikola Jokic I think will probably be back. But the Detroit Boston games right before the Indiana Philly, that's going to tell us a lot, right? Because both of them are on the road again, man. Talk about a brutal stretch. Detroit in Motown, and then a day later, Boston in Beantown. So that's going to be that's an opportunity. I'm going to say that's an opportunity to make a statement and say, hey, Detroit, you might be ahead of us by a couple games. You might have beaten us, earlier, but guess what, man? We're right here. We're going to show you that we ain't moving back, right? We ain't a pushover, right? And I do think we owe Detroit one. Hopefully that's a statement win, right? In Motown. That'll give us a lot of confidence too. Because, yeah, I think it's important to still get a couple of wins against these rivals, I know last season it didn't really matter, We couldn't beat Cleveland or Boston or OKC, and we still came out and beat Boston in the playoffs. This year, we've already shown we can beat San Antonio, who's the second seed. We almost beat them twice. We haven't played OKC yet. We got blown out by Boston, right? But we've been able to have some success against Philly, Cleveland, Boston earlier in the season too. So, I do think that it's still important, though, to get one win at least against Detroit, 1 or 2 wins. Then heading into the playoffs, psychologically, you don't have that monkey on your back in terms of, not being able to beat them, right? I think that's really, really key. Uh, yeah, I've been vocal about what Johnny Chiba says here about Cat. Less forced drives, less fouls, less whining equals less whining. Um, Shot selection's been super key, catch it facing up, spot up and shoot. If they close out hard, then drive. Right? If they ain't closing out hard on you, I think he struggles to get by. He doesn't have to force the drive. Uh, and then also try to establish early position on the block, back to the basket, down low, not all the way up. He's been too far up, sometimes trying to post up, on the pinch post. He needs to be further down and, closer to the basket. I think that's been key for the shot selection of Cat as well. But if we are playing faster, then that means Cat is usually getting the ball in a better position, man. Once we're in a slow grind, struggling to get any stops, that's when, we really see Cat, these guys get into a funk, in my opinion. Right? So, look, moving forward, Deuce McBride unfortunately missed the last two. Dirty Dancer caught it last night. He usually is slower to come back. He likes to take his time. Does Deuce McBride? Does Kolek deserve a shot against LA? Should he continue playing? In my opinion, absolutely. Especially with Clarkson out of the rotation. I like that lineup of Kolek, Macau, Diawara, OG, and Cat. Right? That might be my favorite non-Brunson lineup, and it doesn't even have Josh Hart in it. It doesn't even have Deuce McBride in it. Let us know your thoughts, man. As I just talked about a bit earlier, that lineup of Kolek, 3 wings, and Cat. That might be the best non-Brunson lineup the Knicks have put out, this version. I mean, obviously earlier with Randall, DiVincenzo, and Ihart, and that we probably had some real nice, non-Brunson lineups, but that might be the best non-Brunson lineup I think I've seen from our standpoint, right? Macau, OG, Cat, but with extra length and size of Diawara, who is switchable and is showing that he can knock down shots. He's showing that he can put the ball on the floor a little bit and make a play. Let me pull up the Diawara bucket. Here we go. Right. Because we've got to match up against teams with size, right? Detroit, they got size. They're going to try to bully us with Cade and the like. If you can put up a wall of Mo, OG, and Bridges, you got a wall right there. And then you get stops. You can get out on the break and run with Kolek. Kolek and Macau. And Diawara likes to get downhill as well. I think that's a good look for the size and the matchup purposes as well. Does free up Cat to space the floor out. If you do want to pull Jalen Duren out of the paint, or you want to pull Isaiah Stewart out of the paint, you still got Cat at the 5. With that lineup. It's funny every time Mo hits those threes, man. I just don't feel like it's going to go in, and then it just goes in all the time. It's just something to do with his mechanics, He's got a real long arm. It kind of reminds me of the Frankie Ntilikina mechanics, when he had like tentacles for the arms, but he still, pushes it, and looks like it's going to be heavy, but it goes straight down. So shout out to the coaching, the shooting coach as well. I think the shooting coach on the Knicks, I forget his name, but he's definitely made improvements to Deuce McBride's shot. He's made improvements to Macau's shot this season compared to last. Also, Diawara, is shooting, better than advertised from downtown. And obviously Josh Hart, how could I forget? Josh Hart's 3 ball is looking a lot better as well. Yeah, AJ says Detroit is very physical, and Boston, without Tatum, is playing way better than expected. If the Celtics make the second round, Tatum should be back. Orlando, Miami, Philly in the first round won't be easy. yeah, it's going to be a dogfight in the East. Even like Orlando, they might just try to be overly physical, rough us up. But I do think Philly will be another war. Miami the same with Spoelstra, like you said. I think out of all the teams, Cleveland and Atlanta might be the easiest first round matchup. Hopefully we can get Cleveland or Atlanta. I mean, Jalen Brunson always sends Donovan Mitchell home, man, in the playoffs. And once again, shout out to Jalen Brunson, 10,000 career points, man. What a milestone already. Hopefully he can double, triple that, quite possibly, man, if he can play late into his 30s too. Earlier tonight, I asked y'all, do y'all see any of current Nick able to play into up to their 40? Some of the guys in the chat said Mikal Bridges. I said Deuce McBride, possibly. Someone said Karl Anthony Towns. They could see him playing until he's 40 or close to 40. OG Anunoby, not going to jinx it, but we know he hasn't been that durable. We'll see what he looks like when he approaches the 35 age. But yeah, who else has we got? Maybe Kolek. He might hang around as that veteran second, third string backup point guard. Came into the league late. He might be able to play into his late 30s. We'll see how that plays out. Josh Hart, he's a warrior. Josh Hart's a warrior, but his body's been through a lot of battles, a lot of wars. So I don't know how Hart is going to age. I think Hart's already said he ain't going to play too long. He's going to try, hopefully get one more big contract and then play on a couple of veteran minimums. I think Hart might hang it up around 35, 30, 34, 35, 36. Hart might hang it up. We'll see what plays out, right? But looking forward to the next one. Can we make it 6, right? 5 in a row. It's been fun breaking this down and getting your reactions in this one. Chris, yeah, Hart, the shooting form is better. Doesn't always translate to, results in terms of, percentage. Tonight wasn't great for Hart downtown. 1 of 4 from downtown, but for this season, he's shooting it better. Also, Hart is a decent free throw shooter as well, so it's not just the 3 ball. The shooting coach, they usually get you to start closer to the basket and then you work your way back. It's all about working on the mechanics, first. They say start closer and then you move your way back. There's a lot of kids start with the 3 ball first. They want to be able to shoot the 3 first, but I think it's wise to work your way closer and then back. Just like, master the mid-range, and it's muscle memory after that, Kids ain't doing that nowadays, Gone are the days where, DeMar DeRozan, mid-range assassin, Chris Paul, would lull you to sleep with the mid-range fallback. We don't see that too much now. Now we got Muhammad Diawara shooting 3s. We got Donovan Clingan, Ariel Hukporti putting up 3s now as well. What a time, man! I wonder if they'll ever extend the 3-point line, to a 4-point ball, right? That'd be crazy if we do get a 4-point ball. But we gave out 2 game balls tonight. Brunson, OG, right, to get us out the slump. It's been Mitch, it's been the veterans and the OGs step it up in a major way. Better performances from Karl Anthony Towns, and the depth pieces really stepping it up and giving this team a punch. And also shout out to our coach. First year coach Mike Brown got us back on track. 30-18, had some turbulence, but we're headed into a nice trade period and all-star break. Couple of big games on the slate too. Let's see our boys continue to step it up. hopefully Kolek and Diawara continue to get their confidence. We'll see what happens with Yabu. He's been a great teammate, man. Whatever we say about Yabusele, he doesn't pout, doesn't complain. He's always the first guy off the bench, you know, engaged, you know, on social media, excited to rep and play for the New York Knicks, man. He signed here as a free agent. It hasn't worked out, but, you know, I wish Yabu well in the future if he does end up moving on and, you know, playing for someone else. Hopefully not against us, but we'll see what plays out. Same thing with Clarkson too. And yeah, big up to everyone in the chat. Replay squad salute. Let's get it. Let's get for 6 on the next one against LBJ. Peace.